So now that we're into the off season, let's try and figure a few things to do. One such thing to do is predictions. So I want to start the off season with some way too early predictions on how teams are going to go. And at this point, because no one's really done anything, it's hard to say. So I'll do a lot more as the season continues and gets closer to the beginning. But right out the gates, let's see what I got. It's not going to be, spoiler alert, nothing too surprising here. I imagine a lot of teams are going to do much the way they finished this year. So let's start with the AFC. Let's start in the East. I predict Buffalo to still be the best team. I think that they have this weird trend of flip-flopping between 11 and 13 wins. So until that streak comes to an end, I'm going to say they go back to 11 wins. Not quite sure why they do that. Maybe expectations. They do better when expectations are low and better when expectations are high. Maybe coming off a 13-win season, Josh Allen MVP, making it back to the championship round. Perhaps they have like expectations to do that good again. And it'd be cool if they could. But until the streak ends, I say they go back to 11 wins. But I say that will still be the division for them. 9 and 8, I'm going to say Miami, because they are a very hard team for me to predict right now. I have no idea if they're going to be a really bad 4 or 5 win team, or if they're going to be back to where they were, getting like 11, maybe even 12 wins. I feel like they have a very high ceiling, but also a low floor. Hard for me to guess, so I say 9 and 8, because I think they're good enough to have a winning season. The thing I'm most concerned about the Dolphins is Tyreek Hill. His attitude doesn't seem to quite be up to par. It reminds me a lot of like how Diggs was with Buffalo, and both him and the team were going back and forth saying that no, there's no hard feelings or anything, everything's all good. And then we could tell it wasn't, and the team got a lot better when he left. I think perhaps Tyreek is unhappy here, and if he goes to another team, either during the season or right before the season starts, it could hurt Miami. Or the season goes terribly and he leaves anyway. But ultimately, I think Miami will be good enough for winning record, just barely miss out on playoffs, but they'll be better when Tyreek Hill leaves them, much like the Bills were when Diggs left. Third, I got the Patriots. I got them with 6 wins. So Patriots, you guys have had 4 wins the last couple of seasons. I'd say that's your floor. And I'd say a max ceiling is like 8. Just, twice as good. Combine those 2 seasons. But I'd say right in the middle is a good pred. I'm being hippie. Being a good prediction to put them right at 6 wins. I like Mike Vrabel there, and I really like what we saw from Drake May, but alas, you still don't have a lot of guys on offense that can make plays. You'll have to draft some good guys and see how they turn out. Overall, I do like Vrabel, but I'm most hesitant about McDaniels coming back. I think Josh McDaniels is a mistake. We've seen how Bill O'Brien and Matt Patricia, when they leave and they fail and they come back to New England, they don't turn their careers around. So once again, I think that McDaniels will come back without Brady, without Bill. I think that it will not work out for him, but I think the team will still look pretty good because of Drake May and Vrabel, and we'll see what they do next year. And lastly, I got the Jets. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a good fit here. I'm not sure if he'll leave or not, but I think ultimately, whether they keep Aaron Rodgers or let him go, they're not going to do very good. Whether they begin to rebuild now or later, and I think a lot of players are going to leave. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner. They might want to go to better teams where they can actually compete. Even though I like the hiring of Aaron Glenn, I think he's got his hands full, and I think the first year is going to be tough. I see them getting 2 wins this season, possibly 4, but for now, I'm going to say 2 wins until I see how they make changes in the offseason. And if I keep it that way at 2 wins, that would make them the worst AFC team. But I don't hate the Jets or anything. So if Aaron Glenn, and I like Glenn, so if he can turn it around, I may put him up to more 4 or 5 wins, depending on exactly how it goes for them. But time will tell, and we'll see how this shapes out. All right, not sure if I'm doing these all in one yet or just separating them, but now let's talk about the AFC West. I got the Chiefs, unfortunately, still on top. But I don't think they'll get 15 wins. I say they get 14 wins, and a legitimate 14 wins at that. They'll lose 3 games, and unlike losing to the Broncos on purpose in Week 18, they will lose 3 legit games. Sadly, I think that even though they're not three-peating, I think that the other teams still got some ways to go, and I would love it if the Chiefs could not win the division this time, but they've won it 9 times in a row. I like solid numbers. I say they ended up 10 wins in a row before someone finally beats them. Second place, I'm going to be bold and actually go with Bo Nix and the Broncos. I was going to pick the Chargers, of course, but I like what the Broncos are doing. I say Nix gets 12 and 5 to finish the season, putting them at the 5 seed. And third, I got the Chargers also sneaking into the playoffs at 10 and 7. A small setback after last year, but I think that they're more worried about their postseason success at this point. Justin Herbert 0-2 and looking bad doing it. And lastly, I got the Raiders. I was going to put them at like 2 or 3 wins, but I really like that they brought in Pete Carroll. I think they can do something. They can get someone at QB, and I see them still having a losing record, but I think they're on their way. Brock Bowers was amazing last season. They just need to draft really well, maybe bring in a veteran QB because they don't have a high draft pick. But I can see them getting 8 wins tops. And even though that's the max for them, I'm gonna stick with 8 wins. I say they get 8 wins, 8 and 9, just shy of a winning record. They're on their way to some success. But we shall see. I think I will put these on one because that was only a couple minutes long. Next, let's do the AFC North. I got the Ravens still holding on. I say that they end up 13 and 4 again. It's easy to say that they'll do worse given that they took a step back last year, but given that they looked a lot better near the end of the season, like Derrick Henry and that offense, new defensive coordinator without McDonald, they were all doing a lot better near the end of the season. And if it wasn't for a Mark Andrews drop, I think they could have beaten Buffalo and gone back to the championship, maybe a Super Bowl. But I say that they this might be their time. They finish 13 wins, and they look good for the postseason. Second, I got the Steelers. I think Russell Wilson wasn't a fluke last season. I think Mike Tomlin will keep his winning record, and they'll end up 10 or 11 wins. I'm going to be bold and say 11 wins. I don't think they're on the downward trajectory, and being a Seahawks fan, I'm rooting for Russ. I think that they can do good. They'll need someone other than Garrett Wilson. I think he's being a little interesting right now, but I think they can find a guy, maybe bring in a veteran, and pull off a good year again. A good year yet again. Third, I got the Bengals 9 and 8. They are too good to not have a winning record, but I think again they will miss the postseason because that defense, man, is bad. I feel bad for Burrow and Chase, and now there's all these talks that they're not going to pay any of these guys. They're not going to pay Higgins, and I think that would be a mistake because their offense has been incredible. It's just their defense has been god awful, and I say that sadly their defense yet again keeps them from any postseason success, and we'll see where they go from here next year. And lastly, the Browns. I say Cleveland gets 7 wins this year. I think I don't know who's going to be QB. If they go with Watson, I don't see them getting more than 2 or 3, but I think they'll get someone else. Maybe draft a guy. Maybe DTR will step up. But regardless, I think they can do good and get 7 wins, a lot better than last year. Sounds like Myles Garrett wants out, though, so we'll see. That could still hinder them a bit. But at 7 wins, I think they'll do better than last year, this year, whatever. And I guess if you're a Browns fan, that's all you gotta hope for, basically. And lastly, the South. I got the Texans doing real good this year, 12 and 5. I'm high on the Texans this year. In fact, they will be my pick to go to the Super Bowl. I don't have them winning it though. Second place, I got the Jaguars. I'm gonna say 9 and 8. No, scratch that. I'll go with the Colts 9 and 8. I think the Colts can have a winning season. They were so close last year. If Richardson can just stay healthy, I don't think they'll make it to the postseason, but they will have a winning record. And I'll give 6 wins to the Jaguars. It's an improvement, but they got a lot, they don't have a lot going for them. I just like Trevor Lawrence. I say that's good enough to move them in the right direction. And the Titans, sadly, I'm going to say get 3 wins, despite having the number 1 pick. I don't think they have much going for them this year, so 3-14 for the Titans. So then we come to the postseason. I'll go ahead and make some bold claims. I'll say the Chiefs get the number 1 seed in the bye. The Ravens get the number 2 seed, and the Texans the 3 seed, and the Bills the 4 seed. Broncos end up 5, Steelers 6, and Chargers 7. So that'll be a Harbaugh Bowl for Wild Card Weekend. I say the Ravens take it. The Texans will play the Steelers, and although Steelers fans will be hoping to finally get a playoff win, I think that this will be a Texans win. And the Bills and the Broncos, even though they're the 4 and 5 seed and it won't be a blowout, I think it'll be a repeat as it was this year, and the Bills will continue on. Same Final Four, sadly, as this year. Same playoff teams even. I can't do anything too bold right now, but alas, that's what I got. So, Final Four, if I had to pick, I want to see the Texans just because I'm kind of tired of the same old teams. Hopefully anyone but the Chiefs will make it, though. I'll be happy at that. But let's have some fun and say the Texans go to the Super Bowl.